what your name is and what project you're involved with for Green Hills Community Action Agency.
My name is Craig Latham. I'm the manager of the Green Hills Community Garden here at Action Agency, community garden with the people here in Trenton.
Okay, great. Well, can you talk to us about your personal and professional life before you came to work for Green Hills? What were you doing at the time that you joined the team about a year ago?
Yes, I did a lot of lawn service here in Trenton, lawn mowings and just odd jobs and stuff like that. I just kind of kept to myself with working with myself, and that was about it.
Okay. And what was your life like for you financially before you started with the garden project?
Very, very, like, bills were tight. I could hardly make it the month to month, so you didn't know if you had your rent the next month or your water bill, so it's just very rough and tough.
Okay. All right. Well, how has your life changed financially since you've been able to be affiliated with the Community Garden Project for Green Hills?
My life has changed a lot financially. I can pay my bills, have extra money, and know that I can make it and save up, rents for a few months, and it's great to know you have money and a paycheck coming in.
Okay. Now let's talk about some of the things that have changed for you professionally in terms of things you've been able to do now that you maybe weren't doing or couldn't do in the past.
Okay, now working with the garden and having more money, I, can buy things for myself and, like say pay my bills and, now I can afford cable now and just have more money and just feel better with myself and buy some clothes and tools and stuff to work with.
Well, I know you've had a lot of opportunities to do public speaking when you've gone out to civic groups to talk to them and share about the garden project. Talk to me about how that sort of started and then where you're at now with regard to presenting to civic groups.
Okay, before I'm like I said, I was a people person. I could hardly talk around people and that. And now with the garden and talking and doing projects and talking with the community, it's gotten a lot easier, and it's kind of good to be able to talk to people and explain kind of about the garden and, just be affiliated with people.
When you work in the garden with people one-on-one, how has that changed for you in terms of what you're sharing with the other gardeners?
Working with one-on-one people, you kind of know their little talents and their personal life a little bit, and it's pretty good. It's like just getting to know everybody, and it's a good deal.
What have your family members and friends said about the new and improved Craig?
My stepmom and dad are so proud of me and my friends, that you're working and you stepped up and, doing classes and talking, because they know I get nervous in talking. I go, but it's kind of good that I can do that, and they really see the change to me that I'm a people person and can talk with the community.
Well, I remember there was a time that we did a live program on the radio, and talk to me a little bit about that, because you did a fabulous job, but it was a little bit rough going in for you, wasn't it?
Yes, I know. We read off paper about the garden, and I talked about the seeds and stuff, and talk on the air with the public about the garden. It gets a little easier. That was in the beginning. I think I can do better now with the public and that.
Well, what did your parents say? Were they able to listen to you on the radio, and what were their thoughts regarding the way that you sounded when you were doing a live radio show?
They were amazed to hear me on the radio. My stepmom was really proud of me, hearing my name on the radio and talking, and they just couldn't believe it.
Well, and I know that you've been featured several times in area newspapers and on a website and newsletters and that sort of thing. What are some of the comments you've heard from, like, your buddies that you hang out with regarding seeing their friend Craig on the front page of the paper?
Well, my friends, they know I did a lot of mowing jobs and that, and just impressed. Here you are a manager of this garden project, and you're doing good. Hang in there, and just really impressed what I'm doing. It makes me feel good.
If you think about folks that you know in the community who maybe were like you were when you said you were kind of keeping to yourself and not really that involved, what words of encouragement would you give a person like that to try to become involved in a project or to actually change their way of living?
It's try to get out and talk with people, because a lot of these people with the garden and the pantry, are kind of like me. They kind of keep quiet and that, but when they're in the garden, they talk and joke and this, and it's just to talk to the person, get to know them, and their trust in that. It's really great.
One thing that's really been a standout from me when you're talking about being in the garden, talking to people, is we have folks who have paid to participate in the garden who might actually be millionaires, gardening right next to someone who might have the lowest income of anyone in the community. But it really seems to me like there's really been no distinction, that it's really a sense of community. Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yes, I mean, you couldn't, like you say, tell the person on the right has tons of money and the one next to this has no money. They all treat you the same and talk with you and want to know some goals, or you could ask them for hints on gardening. It's just a community, everyone together talking and stuff.
Why don't you share with us a little bit about your friend June and her experience with the garden and how you've been able to help her participate in something that she might not have been able to do otherwise due to disability?
Yes, my friend June, she's an older woman, and she wanted a garden, but she can't really get out there and stand for long periods of times and that, so I helped her get a couple plots, and she had her grandniece help seed it, and I've helped her pull weeds and get her produce and just bring her a chair up there and make sure she's all right and help her kind of back to the car, and she's just so tickled to death that she can do this, and she wants, I hope I have a garden next year up here. And I went, yeah, you will, and just tickled to death.
Well, you've been able to take some food to the food pantry to actually give them free food to hand out to the 220 families who come there. Tell me the way that that's made you feel in being able to share that excess produce with the food pantry.
Yes, we've had some lettuce and vegetables I've taken up there, and they were so happy that I brought that up there. The two women that work up there could just see, Laura, you're doing a good job, and thank you for bringing this up here, and just makes me feel good. I've had help in the past, now I can help these people and kind of repay.
Yes. And talk a little bit about what our plans are with regard to selling excess produce and what you're thinking that will be like.
Yes, we've got a stand up there at the community garden, and we have a pantry garden and a big garden of corn and some different vegetables that we're going to try to sell on the weekends and maybe after work, and just to see how it goes. And other people that have gardens can try to do some selling up there too, and help them get some income coming in and involvement with the community.
Okay. Are there other things that you would like to add as far as the project, or anything that we've forgotten that you think is important to share with others regarding yourself or the project?
Well, people need to, like myself, many years I'd work and go home and do nothing. Get out with the community, and I thought, I don't want to do that, but I'm glad I did. A lot of these people are great, and talking with others, and it's like you're not going to a job, you're going to meet people and talk, and it's really improved my life.
And what are your plans for the future regarding the garden?
Well, hopefully still work with the garden, and I do wood projects, maybe make some benches or something up there, and still help the people and just be involved.
Okay, Peter, can you